Wildcat Football Weekly, presented by Hughes Federal Credit Union, home of the official U of A debit card. Get yours today at hughesfcu.org.
Welcome to another edition of Wildcat Weekly with head coach Kevin Sumlin. It's homecoming Saturday afternoon at the stadium, the Wildcats and the Oregon State Beavers. 1:30 kickoff. It'll be a glorious day for football, and hope to see everybody, especially those coming back for homecoming on Saturday. Before we get to that ball game, Coach, a couple things about the game at Stanford. J.J. Taylor goes over 3,000 career rushing yards at Arizona. A special guy, a historic mark for him. Where do you put him in context in terms of his value right now? To the team?
He's as good a player as there is in this league. I think, the hard part has been, he struggled with injuries this year. The ankle has been tough for him. And so what we've had to do is kind of manage his carries and manage what he's doing. We had the conversation yesterday. He rushed it, 16, 17 times. Threw it to him a couple more times, and then and kickoff return. But we'd like to get him back to where he was last year. When there's a bunch of games where he carried it 30 plus times. So I think he's getting back to that from a health standpoint, but he probably needs to touch it 10 more times a game.
All right. You had another freshman catch his first touchdown pass, Jalen Johnson. Just adding to your rotation, we've seen him a little bit before. At what point in the season do the freshmen no longer become freshmen? When do they kind of cross that line?
Usually when they go in the game, but that's the hard part. I think for he and Booby, it's been a difficult year. You just think about it. Thinking back on it, JJ was hurt, but those two were hurt during camp. Booby had a shoulder situation. Jalen tore a tendon in his thumb, it's really difficult on a receiver. Had surgery, and then 5-6 weeks where he couldn't do anything, where he couldn't develop, where he couldn't get better. It was tough. Thank goodness we had the couple bye weeks. And I think what you see is both of those guys, Jalen and Booby Curry, getting better every week as they understand. They've always been talented, but understanding coverages, understanding leverage, understanding the changes in play variations. I think they're getting better every week, and certainly Jalen and Booby have shown that for the last couple of weeks.
You mentioned to us after the ball game, you have a lot of goals still in play for this team. You've also talked about the fact that these guys are still playing hard. Is that the number one thing you as a head coach look for?
That's it. I mean, we sit in this room, and one of the first things I've said when I got here, wherever I've been as a coach, head coach, position coach, coordinator, whatever that is effort is the price of admission, right? Okay. So we're not gonna coach that. That's an expectation, and I think where our team is right now and what they're doing. As I watch the tape or on the sideline, that they're playing hard. Now they're not always doing what they're supposed to do, but they're doing it as fast and I think as physical and as tough as they can, and that's where the coaching piece comes in.
You had to make a difficult decision this week in terms of a staff change. Chuck Cecil taking over as defensive coordinator. I think the fans know he's got a great legacy as a player at Arizona, has been with you now for a couple of years. He's been a coach, etc. How does that transition, I don't want to use the word easier, but the fact that the players know him, they know of him, how does that help him now in his work?
Well, I think there's two things. He's been in the room with the defense. I think the big thing when it comes to coaching and coaching changes, particularly in the middle of the year, is verbiage and vocabulary, because you see these commercials where the quarterbacks are yelling out, everybody laughs at them, but that becomes important. That means something. So what that verbiage is in that room makes a quicker transition for the coaches and the players, even if you're going to change schematically a little bit or change schematically a lot, but whatever that verbiage is the players are familiar with, it's like trying to learn a whole different language like in a week, and that's really hard to do. So him being there and he and Hank being in that room, understanding how the communication piece was, I think will help them establish, what direction we want to go a lot quicker than just bringing somebody in from outside.
Got Oregon State coming to town this week. The Beavers have won 2 conference road games, which is impressive, number one. The other thing is they lead the nation now in the fewest turnovers. They've turned the ball over twice this season. So
that's right.
How aggressive, what do you do? Or they've been very good at it. How do you try and turn that around?
We need to, right? Because we've given it up a couple times. We were at our turnover margin was 0. We gave it up twice last Saturday, and I think if you look back at it, that was a big factor in our game. They did not. Stanford did not turn the ball over. We turned it over twice. So, it's something we've been talking about: penalties, turnovers, and something we're going to continue to harp on.
Okay.
And so, what we need to do is become better than that and flip that turnover margin back to plus.
It is homecoming on Saturday, and it's primarily for the fans and for the former students to come back. I know you probably don't sit in the locker room and say, let's win one for the alumni, but at the same time, it is it's a special week. Do you sense that?
Yeah, it's, homecoming's homecoming, wherever you go. I've only coached one place where they didn't have homecoming. They said homecoming was every week, but, this is a big deal, and then we've got a lot of people that are coming to town. A lot of people who are students, faculty, fans, and it's always been a big deal, right? Even since when you played high school or whatever you did, homecoming was always a big game, but the other side is I've been a part of the other teams where they schedule you for homecoming, and you don't like that either. Okay. So that's. It'll be a great game. Like I said, I think we've lost Oregon State and us. We've lost to a lot of the same people. We've beaten the same people. So it'll be a heck of a football game.
All right, Cats and the Beavers, Saturday, 1:30. We'll see you at the stadium, and more Wildcat Weekly right after this.
Life is what you make it, full of endless possibilities and opportunities at every corner. In our fast-paced world, where you bank matters. Hughes helps you with what matters most, delivering dreams, adding value to your life, for you, your family, and your future. We are local, rooted in the community you call home. Join us on the journey of life. Hughes Federal Credit Union, recognized by Forbes as one of Arizona's best credit unions 2 years in a row.
Wildcat Football Weekly continues, presented by Hughes Federal Credit Union. Forbes ranked Hughes one of the best credit unions in Arizona 2 years in a row. Learn more at hughesfcu.org/best.
Welcome back to Wildcat Weekly. Our guest this week is Jace Whitaker, the do-everything defensive back for the Wildcats. Jace, how many positions have you learned so far this season?
This season, I haven't learned anything new. I've just played new positions.
Okay. And what's the difference? Is it what's the challenge of learning the different positions?
Actually playing it is the hard part. In game time, live repetition, game time speed, that's the hardest part. Things happen a lot differently. The views, the angles, the speed of the game is a lot different from each position.
Now, can it be fun as a player to have that variety in what you're doing? And I don't want to say get stuck in the same spot. You love playing wherever you're at, but the fact that you've moved around a lot, does that make the game even more fun for you?
Oh, absolutely. Every time I go out and play the certain position, I think about who I want to be that day. Who can I imitate and kind of act like, all within myself. And it's really fun. It's a dream come true.
You came back this year after the injury last year. You've been such a big cog, and I know a lot of the young guys, they don't call you grandpa, but you are one of the elder statesmen out there. Do you enjoy the fact that you're kind of overseeing some of the young guys in their development?
It's nice. It's a role that you don't choose. It's just given to you, and you've got to make the best of it.
What about the freshmen? Christian's played, Bobby's played. You had some first-year guys out there. What's the most important thing that they've had to learn this season? Because you've gone through it before. learning to play at this level? What do they have to adapt to most?
I mean, the biggest thing is that they take it serious. You know, they understand how serious a football game is and what leads up to playing that well in a football game. And the main thing I wanted them to know is that they've got support. We're all a team. It doesn't matter what grade you are. When it comes to do what you have to do, you've got to do it.
Okay. Quick scouting report on Oregon State. What do the Wildcats need to do to win the game?
No touchdowns.
Okay.
No touchdowns, and we'll win the game.
All right, perfect. He's Jace Whitaker. Wildcats and Beavers Saturday at the stadium, and we'll see you next time on Wildcat Weekly.
Thank you for watching Wildcat Football Weekly, presented by Hughes Federal Credit Union, home of the free U of A Visa debit card. Get yours today at hughesfcu.org. Federally insured by NCUA.